Hi, everybody. Um, we're so happy to be here tonight. It's Louise here, and let me introduce. Hi, Antoinette.
Hi, everybody. Hello, Louise.
Well, I'm very happy to be here after last week's mishaps. I'm sorry for everybody who's missed it. But what I do want to know is because Facebook deleted my post. So I just want to quickly go to the comments. So if there's anybody watching, can you just go and just say, hi, I'm here, something, so we can just go and check the comments and see if there's anybody. If anybody's having problems and if anybody's hearing a demented drummer, we want to know. Let's see. Comments. Where's comments? Where's your comments? Right. So I am a bit worried because Facebook wasn't showing it. So, okay. Anybody out there, please say hi to us. I know we've got a lot of guests and lots of people have been waiting for us through this whole week of mishap. Just yes, my husband had a big fall, Humpty Dumpty. Broken femur last week, Tuesday morning, and he's back home, and here we are. Okay. Antoinette, there we go. Hello, let's see. So it's wonderful. Okay, oh, that's wonderful. Okay, so Norma Jane, you're not hearing demented drummers, we know strange noises.
Who's there? Hello, everybody.
Okay, so about the only thing that can happen is that my webcam can fall off, but then we'll just start over. We'll just play it cool and start over. Okay, so tonight we're just going to talk, and at the end of it, we are going to invite people in, and we're not going to check comments all the time. We'll go back to it as soon as we've covered some ground. I think we've got an impossibly big subject here tonight that we want to cover. And so we're just going to see how far we get, because we can have as many lives as we want, can't we, Antoinette?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So we definitely cannot cover everything in one, but we'll start somewhere. Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming. All right, so we're talking about adult child syndrome, right? Okay, so Antonina, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give a little description about what it really is. Just a very short, simple description of what it really is. And if any of you can relate to any of this in the chat, go ahead and tell us. We'd love to know. Okay, so the first thing is, if you reflect back for yourself, that if there was any time in your life growing up where I'm talking about younger than 7, 9, 12, 16, not after that you're supposed to be growing up, 12, younger than 12, when you started thinking that you had to act like an adult, that you had to be responsible for adults, be responsible for your siblings, and be responsible for yourself, not in a good way, but in the way like nobody else is there for me, and I have to grow myself. If anybody had any of those feelings, and I want you to go and tell us, and we'll go and check later. Okay, where did I disappear to now? Going back. All right. So the reasons for that are many. So I'm just going to give you a few general reasons. Some of them are big. If there's something like a war, a family, an important family member dying, and there's no explanation. If a child is moved from their primary home to another home for whatever reason, so like it is a war or for safekeeping or for any reason whatsoever, and the parent structure suddenly disappears, whether it's dying or moving the child, or a parent leaving, and there's no explanation, and there's no helping the child through it. The child is going to lose their sense of safety in the world, and they're going to stop trusting, and they're going to start feeling unsafe, and they're going to blame themselves. So that's going to be a very big influence on you. But also abuse of any kind, abuse in the home, unstable parents, is a hugely big one. It is alcoholism, addiction, especially if it's on the mother's side. It's amplified on the mother's side, but if it's the father's side or any other family member, because we tend to live our lives around the dysfunction, which is the addiction, or the abuse of prescribed medicines, any kind of mental illness, long stays in hospital. It can even be short stays, as long as it is the child had to feel responsible for growing himself up. So that's the defining thing, and there's many reasons. Oh, going to hostel at a very young age, which is something that a lot of children had to go through, going off to hostel at 16, going to a boarding school at 6 or 5 or 6, and all of a sudden they had to be little men, little women, and take care of themselves, and their whole support system is not there. So that's a huge one. Okay, Antoinette, anything else that you can think of that I might have missed?
I don't know the topic. I can only talk from what you and our previous interactions. Maybe having to parent a parent. I don't know. Is that one?
That's definitely. And parent to parent falls into a lot of different categories, but definitely the addiction. Oh, wait, there's something else which I nearly missed. Thanks for that. Which happens is if you have a parent who acts helpless and they are, say, floundering from man to man, or they just keep on losing their house and keep on moving the children around. A helpless person who's not organized and together and there for the children. And somebody who has huge reactions. In other words, an adult child herself who is now responsible for children. The children is going to notice, are going to notice that. We're not going to know what they notice, but they are going to notice it. And therefore, because this mother is floundering, it can be a father also, but it's usually the mother. If the father is floundering, there's often a mother who is stepping in, and there's still a saving grace. But if a mother is floundering and there's nobody else who are saving people for the children, then the children will need to step in and be the stabilizer for the mother. The mother who comes to them with, this is my problem, I'm so broken, fix me. That's one of the things. And then a huge one, which a lot of women, single women do, is when they get divorced or the father die, they start talking to the son in the house as, you are now mommy's big boy, you are now the man of the house. And as innocently meant, it is meant as an encouragement, and it should never be said, because it is not a little boy's job to be the man of the house. It is a little boy's job to be a little boy, and the mother is the one who is the parent. Even if she's the remaining one in the house, her job is to be the parent. There's other ways to teach your child responsibility, and so that happens so often, and then that child will see his mother's devastation and stop having feelings. Antoinette, there's something I want to mention before we carry on. So adult child syndrome is not about your adult children. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you who's sitting here today with leftovers of having grown up in a situation where you had to be a little adult. Now, if that was your circumstance, if it were your circumstances, then you are going to have passed on these things to your children. And I want you to zone out of that. Yes, you would have made mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes anyways. But you can't focus on your children and feel guilty about what you may or may not have done. It's not about that. It's about becoming aware so that you can change your own life. And especially if a mother changes her own life, if any parent changes their own life, the whole family benefits from it. So I don't want you to focus about I've done this wrong or I've done that wrong. I want you to focus about really getting the message and get the awareness and get the tools of hope, because this can be fixed and you can be who you were always supposed to be. Don't focus on your children. There's time for that. Heal yourself. Heal yourself. And that's important, isn't that, Antoinette, that we start with ourselves and we heal ourselves.
Yeah, it has to start there, because then all the rest it comes off at the base of that. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, guys, so please keep on commenting. We'll come back to it. I am going to go through it fast. So I was going to post a PDF for you on my post on my Facebook page today, but Facebook have made my post disappear. And so I've been searching for the last half an hour trying to get it. But I will afterwards, on the at the bottom of the live video that everybody's watching now, I'll go and put a PDF up. If I'm clever enough, I'll maybe do a bit of screen share. It's very short and it doesn't remotely cover everything, but it is enough to make you go like, yes, this is me. But I'm just going to go through this and quickly just cover everything that is in that document. So the first thing is this, that if this is you and you grew up as an adult before you were supposed to be an adult, you're going to learn coping skills that are going to help you get through a difficult childhood. So it's perfect. It's wonderful, because you need these coping skills in order to get yourself grown up. And you can't blame yourself for this. You just have to go like it is. These are the cards that I've been dealt. Tough luck. And now I get the chance to reparent myself. And where do I start? Now, first thing we start with is awareness. We just want awareness, and then we start working through what it is that we need to do. So if that is you, your overwhelming belief in life is going to be, don't talk, don't trust, and don't feel. Which means you are going through life looking okay, looking in control, blending in, and looking bulletproof. So it works when you are still younger than 80, because it manages to protect your feelings that you are powerless over, that you have no help for, that you don't know where to go and get help. It helps to get you there. After 19, it starts to alienate you, and it lets you do stuff like become involved in codependent relationships, and your life may work up to a point, because codependent relationships works for a while and then they fall apart. And it's usually when the codependent relationships fall apart that we start looking for help. So we start with don't talk, don't feel, and don't trust. Now, there are groups. So the document that I'm going to share with you, I've got four groups of children, adult personality types. It's a limited list. In this book, which is Perfect Daughters of Robert J. Ackerman, which is an excellent book for adult children, he describes 7. And I like his description better. He's more specific. And also he really describes it well. And he gives for every personality type, for every child surviving mechanism that we carry into adulthood, he gives us a set of guidelines of what it is that you can do as an adult for your specific behavior. But these groups are not clear-cut. Nobody is just this one or that one or that one. We all flow in between, and some are more this and some less. But okay, so the first one is the hero child, which is the savior. the rescue, the fixer. And here children are usually perfectionistic and high achievers, very controlling with the best intentions, and exhausted.
Resonates.
Hands up, hands up, everybody. Okay, who identify with that one? We're having a huge confession session here tonight, people. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one is the adjuster, which is also the invisible child, which is I adjust to whatever you need from me. If you need me to be invisible, I will be invisible, but it's usually the child who doesn't want attention on them. Then the scapegoat is the next one. It's the one that gets attention by acting out. But the acting out is also a way of, if I'm the clown, I'm taking away the attention from my alcoholic father, from our lack of money, from my mother having 12 boyfriends in a row, from my brother in jail. So usually the scapegoat gets liked for being funny and for having all these antics, and then it becomes more and more of this attention-grabbing behavior. Right, and then the placator is really the carer. It's the glue that holds the family together. It's the one that will go and smooth things over, and it's the one that will try and make peace all the time. And the carer have no needs of their own. The carer will just take care of the whole entire family, world, every broken wing out there, and collect all the little bunnies and the street children and everything under the sun, because that is the role in which they have had to slot into their family. But these do overlap in many ways. There are other ones. There are the triangulator. There are other ones. I'm not going to go through it. There is more data. And like I said, Perfect Daughters have got for me the best description that I have seen from experience, from myself being an adult child. And I'm an adult child because of two reasons. My father was alcoholic, but also my mother never accepted me. I don't know if it was before birth or after that, but she's never claimed me as her own. I was my father's side of the family, and she called me a child of the devil until I was 35. I think I mentioned it last time. So she just never identified with me, and she didn't bond with me, and she didn't hug me or let me, there wasn't a lot of emotional closeness. Mm-hmm. So the fact that my father was an alcoholic was bad enough, but I also took responsibility for my mother because she was falling apart most of the time, and she was so focused on keeping my father happy and making sure that everything is fine, and she was giving such a lot of attention to my brother that I fell through the cracks. So unavoidable. It was the biggest day of my life when this document that I want to share with you came to my attention, because it suddenly gave me an understanding of why the heck I just didn't feel like I was fitting into the world. Okay.
So Louise, is abandonment one then? If somebody's like adopted, or so would abandonment be a...
Abandonment's a big one. Abandonment is huge, especially adoption. It depends on how it's handled. Adoption, if you've gone through a period of rejection, if you've gone through a period where your parents were just not there. I'm not talking about baby adoption. I'm more talking about this instability in the house and you have to go to another family. Baby adoption is a whole different story. You just have to handle it in a really holistic way, so that the child at the appropriate age just know they wanted and loved. And keep on handling it and never ignore it, and don't let it come as a shock and a surprise. And just let the child know that they are accepted. So a bad adoption on its own, no. But adoption with traumatic circumstances, any kind of trauma is big enough.
And
sometimes
what about in utero? In utero experiences, like if a mother is stressed about having a child, does it have an effect before you're born or only after?
I suspect in my case it's been like that, because I know my mother already decided that she has to leave my father, and then I came along. So she was pregnant with me when she's already made up her mind, and I think that subconsciously she blamed me for it. I have no proof about it, but there's a missing link in my life, because my mother was the nicest person you don't understand. The nicest person for everybody, except she didn't fit with me. Didn't make sense. So I do think there was the the, the pre-birth resentment, which it's always unconscious. You don't do it on purpose. And I do think this is a good time to say we're not here to blame our parents. This is not a blame game. This is an awareness game. Every parent out there do the best they can. They just want to do the best. Everybody thinks that if we bring these tools that we've learned from our parents into our lives, money don't grow on trees. That's what my parents said. So I'm saying it to you, so that you can not go be a spendthrift. If you don't listen, I'm going to slap you so that your ears ring. So that I don't have a juvenile delinquent. Okay. If you have been brought up like that, chances are when you lose it, you're going to say the same things. So we only perpetuate what we know. We don't grab tools out of thin air. It doesn't exist. We have to run into a wall. Our lives have to become uncomfortable. And then we are so extremely lucky, because now we will become willing to work on ourselves. So,
yeah, and a psychiatrist said to me yesterday, we go back to our most familiar emotion, and that was quite an aha moment for me, because depending on this childhood we have, our most familiar emotion might be, I don't know, anxiety or lack of self-love, or so it's about rewiring ourselves to change that. Am I right?
yeah, it's going to be different for everybody. There's no one size that fits everybody, but it's been long accepted that who you are at 7 is who you are for the rest of your life until you start doing this work. So you want to go back to the biggest things that happened to you before 7. You want to go write down the 5 biggest things that happened to you. If it was that your granny hated you and your bunny died, then you actually want to go and write those down. Sometimes it's you have the most awesome parents, but your oldest sister is a genius and needs karting from ballet to music to drama school to everywhere, and gets all the support. And your youngest brother is a juvenile delinquent. And all you do is you sit in the middle and you don't rock the boat. You are just invisible. And so if you are invisible at 7, you're going to be invisible at 12. And then you are not going to have wants and needs for the rest of your life. But you can still be any of these other, you can still have any of these other personality types, these coping groups as part of your makeup. And so you can pass by quite easily. You can become a people pleaser. And when you become a people pleaser, you feel so great about yourself and people like you so much. And so you get far in life with being a people pleaser until one day when you realize nobody's doing anything for me. And then all of a sudden, being a people pleaser doesn't work for you anymore and your life falls apart. So all of these coping tools that we learn which works until it stops working, they are not real coping tools. They are substitutes that helps us to get grown up. And codependent relationships is the same thing. People
Can you explain codependency, Louise?
Yeah, it's a very long subject, so I don't want to get into it too much because I think we need to have a long, because there's a lot of misconceptions about codependency. But it's basically when two people are friends in a relationship, close family members, because they support each other, they lift each other. They are not together because they are whole people. They are with the other person because that person fixes something inside themselves. And it works until one person grows up. Or it works until one person feels they are not accepted anymore, and then they turn around and they become punishing. And the minute they become punishing, the hamster wheel relationship starts, where it is you did this to me, I'm doing that to you, we make up this peace. I do this to you, you do that to me, we make up this peace, and it becomes worse and worse and worse. So that's the shortest way I can explain codependency. Somebody fixes somebody else because they're not whole, and not a single adult child is whole. Not a single one. Because we were not seen, valued, and affirmed for ourselves. We were seen, valued, and affirmed as an extension of a parent or a family, as in, if you do this, you're acceptable to me. If you prop me up as a mother, you are seen and valued. If you go and do well, because that's our family motto, then you are acceptable to me, otherwise I'm just going to be harsh to you. So if you've been seen and valued for who you are, you will, if you do have I actually do not know of anybody who's been seen and valued for themselves and appreciated, who has, no, not a single person, not one single person in all the groups or the people that I've worked with have been seen and valued for themselves. They have been valued for being an extension of the parent, being what the parent wanted them to be, and not really appreciated for who they are inside. Is that making sense to you?
Yeah, very much so. It resonates for sure, yeah.
Okay. All right. And everybody on the comments, please just go ahead. If any of you have had the same similar kind of experience, and think about it deeply. What were you valued for? A lot of people who start doing adult child work say, "Yeah, but I had such a happy childhood." And I'm just going to ask you, so if your life is in a mess, why? Because look, in here, I've got an example. More than one person who've arrived at a group meeting and said, "No, but I've had such a happy childhood." And 2-3 meetings, it comes out that there was a father who tried to kill the whole family. And yet they've had a happy childhood. And it's real, and it happens to a lot of people. I've had a happy childhood. Yes, of course you've had a happy childhood. It was your job as a child to have something that you can explain as I fit in with the rest, no matter how hard it was. No matter if it was hard for you, you still made sure you fitted in. You might have been part of a family who were relentlessly happy. And then it was like there was no space for anybody having any problems. Always only one person in the entire family who could have problems. And everybody else's problems were not important. But there was enough going around so that we could say to ourselves, I had a happy childhood. And yes, all of us, no matter how damaged we are, no matter how much hurt we walk around with inside ourselves, have had happy times. Although I have to say, Antoinette, when I first saw a photo of myself as a 4-year-old, and I was smiling and posing for a birthday party, I could not actually remember being a happy child. So
Louise,
that,
I couldn't. In 2017, a kinesiologist asked me to recall a moment of joy in my life, and I couldn't actually, believe it or not. That's
yeah.
shocking.
And look, I think it's really important to note we are both strong women, we're intelligent women, we're accomplished women, we are go getters. And yet, we've managed to make it through our formative years, look okay. We've managed to go on and have careers and make a place for ourselves in the world. And I really never thought about whether I was happy as a child or not, because I had an overriding desire just to fit in, not be different, and just feel accepted. That was a big one for me.
And I didn't even know that about myself actually until
Yeah,
I started doing this work. I was just operating in a certain way. And I came across as very confident, very happy, very together. I mean, I had it all. I'd studied a lot. I had a good business. I traveled. So people were like, "Wow, this chick's got it together," you know.
yeah,
But inside, the one thing that wasn't there always, that's there now, even though sometimes because I'm doing this inner work, life's not always a bed of roses, but I always had this grinding inner like fear, like inner anxiety, like something's not okay. It didn't matter even if I was on the best holiday or I achieved the biggest success in my life. And one thing I realized now is there was a constant dissatisfaction in me, and it's something I work with now all the time. So I was always striving for more, no matter how good I was, or successful, or educated, or popular. And it wasn't because I'm materialistic but yeah, I was trying to fill an empty hole all the time, actually.
yeah,
Mhm.
being driven.
Yeah, by being completely overdriven,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
and
where it
over
always will
controlling.
show, yeah, where it will always show is in your relationships. It will show in literally all your relationships. I'm going to go through some of the 13 um, points of what's called the laundry list. And so anybody can go and Google it. It's called adult child syndrome laundry list. There's only 13 on them. Now, I've gone through a lot of research, and I've got about 70 traits of adult children together now. But these ones are the common ones. But if you are not sure, look at your relationships. It is one friend only, one best friend. Hard to be in groups. Um, Always looking okay, always trying to blend in, but look at your intimate relationships and look if you can see if you need to fix somebody. That always constant tinkering and trying to change this other person so that they can be a certain way so that you can feel okay. Or if you are completely invisible in the relationship, your needs do not matter at all. So, and then needing this person so much, you can really say, I'm addicted to this person. I'm addicted to this person. I cannot. This is my life. And I'm waiting for this person to change so that I can feel better. It's always relationships. It is in serial disaster relationships, and it is also in not making good choices for yourself. So these are all relationships is your biggest red flag because you can look so okay. I have my whole life together. I just don't need anything. I'm just perfect. Don't worry. You can put that whole show on. And that show does not carry on into your intimate relationships. And it's not to say it's going to be a mess immediately. Me and my husband were codependently, blissfully happily married for 15 years, to the extent that everybody said to us, you are the perfect couple. We looked like it. But you know what?
Wow.
The amount of work I had to do to make it look like that. And never, ever, ever shared with anybody what was going on inside and how I was really treated. And I was the controlling one and the tough one, the tough one with zero boundaries. So I would have been the bitch in the story, but I was so badly treated. But I didn't show anybody, I didn't tell anybody. It was unthinkable to tell anybody because it felt like it was my job to fix this and I couldn't fail. And that's another one. It's my job to fix it and I can't fail. And if there's anybody else who feels that, please let us know. You know what I'm talking about, don't you, Carol? Don't you, Antoinette?
Sorry, it's raining so hard here now. I'm not hearing you.
Yeah, we've got lovely soft rain and 12 degrees outside. So we've got your Cape weather here.
What made you realize that something wasn't right, Louise? Why did you go on this journey of healing yourself? What triggered it for you?
It was a complete accident, really, because I was still convinced that my husband had to change, and the minute he changes, I will be deliriously happy. I really believed it. He has to just stop drinking, and just everything will be fine. And it wasn't. It didn't work. But I mean, I actually describe it in that document that I want to share with everybody, is that I got to the stage where I had an alcoholic chef working for me. And I was like completely astonished. And I stood around and I said, what on earth is going on? Why is there so many alcoholics in my life? And if you have alcoholics in your life, you don't have boundaries with it. So it's really hard for you to know how to be around it, because especially my father was an alcoholic, so we were codependent on him, so we never, talked about the white elephant in the room, and there was no boundaries in him. All of our lives revolved around making sure he was fine, not exploding, and not trying to prevent him from drinking. So I said out loud, what is going on? Why are there always alcoholics in my life? And the next day, somebody walked in the door and said, Louise, I have this document, which I think you must read. And she was just somebody who used to go to AA, and she knew about adult child syndrome, and she brought it to me, and she said to me, I think you need to read it. And the lights went on. All the lights went on. Every single thing that I've been looking for years, the answers I've been looking for, has been contained in adult child work. No amount of visits, years and years with psychologists, self-help books. There's not a self-help book that I didn't try. Talking to friends and gurus, and the one thing after another, nothing worked. Until I found the adult child 12-step program and started a support group, started supporting others, started working through everything. And my entire life changed. And
and it's astounding that people... it's so the lights go on fast with it, and then the healing can happen. But it's not very prevalent, is it, out there? I mean, how many...
We are so far behind.
Yeah.
In America, it is much more mainstream. It's about the only place where it is more mainstream, because, of course, it originated as a split off from AA there originally, because the person who did the original bucket list, the 13 traits, was somebody that noticed that everybody had a certain set of it. It started as a split off from children of alcoholics, and then everybody had the same traits. But then since then, because a lot of research has been done on it, all these other reasons why children become self-sufficient too young and are not just children have since been discovered to add to it. So that's why it's ACA, which is Adult Children of Alcoholics. But we don't use that term anymore. unless you are in AA, we use the broader term of AC, adult children of dysfunctional homes. So the dysfunction can be anything that made you act like a little child. Even the disappearing bunny, which nobody told you about, so it can be small, depending on how you perceived it at the time.
So, and you reckon 70 to 80% of people have adult child syndrome?
Research. Yeah, no, there's actual research on that, and you just have to look around. And once you've done adult child work, you immediately recognize somebody else, because you can just say, oh my word, there goes I. But the grace of God here, there goes I. It's like, really, this used to be me. And you're so transparent now, because I used to do exactly those same things with no judgment, because it's a job to heal yourself. You do it with great love and empathy, and you help anybody that's looking for help. Okay, so I'm just going to go through some of the traits, okay? Adult children don't know what normal is. They don't feel normal. They don't know what normal is. They feel different from other people. And they guess what normal is. They very often look around and see, this person, my best friend, is behaving like this, therefore I'm just going to copy them. Or they're going to see, this person likes me if I help them, so I'm just going to keep on helping. Or that person accepts me when I'm quiet or jokey or the life of a party, and then I'm going to act like that. So, but just chameleons. I will fit in with you as long as you accept me, and as long as I feel wanted and loved and liked by you. I will do a lot of giving up who I am really inside. In fact, I actually don't know who I really am inside, because I've become so used to being everything for everybody else in order to be liked and accepted. Okay, so that's number 1 and 2, I think. Okay, so adult children are usually more mature. So even as you can go and look back in your childhood, if you used to be friends with older people, if you used to be friends with older friends, if you thought that children's games were silly and where you were just like, get it, then yeah, most likely you're an adult child. All right, adult children take themselves very seriously. Fun is not something that also, depending on the, if you are a scapegoat or the clown, which is one of the descriptions, then you're going to take fun so seriously that there's going to be nothing else. So don't generalize. Just, that's all I really want to say to you. Do not generalize. There is no perfect one thing fits everybody mold here. All right, so I've already said about intimate relationships. Overreactions. Okay, so overreaction. Is your volume on the highest it can be?
Yeah, it's just raining, so I can't hear too well. But it's fine. Carry on. I'm sure everyone else can hear.
But you'll have to watch the rerun. Okay, so overreactions. Now, overreactions is when you are.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I'm just sensitive. Don't say this around me. I'm just sensitive. Oh, bullshit. You're overreacting because you're carrying a lot of hurt with you, and it can be helped. You're not just sensitive. There's no just about you. You're an awesome person, and don't come and limit yourself. You don't have to limit yourself. You are not just sensitive. You can learn not to take everything personally. But it's such a big thing. And it's one of the biggest giveaways, that you will overreact about all kinds of things that you don't need to overreact about. So, it's a hard one. It's probably the hardest one of all these things to come to terms with, because we can find such beautiful excuses for these overreactions. Yes, but he. Yes, but she. You're blaming a lot. Okay.
But
Stay
that's
here.
where self-awareness, the more self-aware you become, the more you can catch a reaction and ask yourself, sure, am I being oversensitive here? Am I overreacting? Is this the truth? I often have to ask myself, no, because the reaction comes automatically and it's like, oh, and then I have to ask myself now, is this reaction warranted actually? But it's taken me a lot of self-awareness and self-training to be able to stop myself before the reaction becomes automatic, actually.
The bigger the reactions, the bigger the hurt that you are suppressing, which is why one of the things that I deal with is resolving unresolved childhood griefs, because they are unresolved, because we parked them away because we were powerless at the time. Now, if you resolve it, it loses its power over you. It becomes your story and doesn't define you anymore. And then you're not this triggered all the time. And then you just become this person who grows inside themselves and have more to give. And you become calm and easy in the world, and it's the best thing in the world. I just want everybody to have it. Just want everybody to have this calm and peace, and being able to just go back, no matter, because shit's going to happen. Be real about that. No matter what happens in your life, once you've done this work and you've neutralized all these triggers, you have a place of calm and serenity inside yourself that you can always go back to. And sometimes it may take a little while. You know what? Honestly, last Tuesday, I was really seriously thrown by this husband of mine falling again. The third operation in 3 years, and my life dissipated in front of me. You know, I can't do these kind of things that I'm doing tonight. If I have to be the cat feeder and the man feeder and take care of everything else that he normally takes care of. So like huge resistance, and I couldn't get back to my mojo until Saturday morning. It's a long time for me to be out of mojo. It doesn't normally take that much. But all along, through all of that, what am I missing? What's going on? Why is this happening? You know, all of that resistance. I know already I will get through it. I will get through it. I need to have self-care. I need to take care of myself. I will get back to calm and serenity because it's now non-negotiable. It is just always there, but not trying to pretend to be Buddha or somebody who doesn't get stressed and triggered. I'm still a human being. Life happens to all of us. It is just now, nothing is so big. Nothing is so big that I know I can't get through it. Even stuff that's
But it takes time to get there, don't you think? I don't know, for me, I seem to have got worse before I got better in a way, because my stuff arose and arose and it still does. And then like my anxiety got worse before it got better. Now I can often be calm even when things are very hectic. But yeah, so I don't know if that's just for me.
There's no one journey for everybody. It's gonna go like this. Some stuff you're just gonna get like this. It is just going to. I'm never going back to that place. Other stuff you're gonna go up and down and up and down. You're never going to go backwards. You're always going to go forward, but up and down like this. That's a big part of your journey. And then there's a third component where there are just certain walls you haven't bumped into yet. You know, if you become all calm and serene and wonderfully centered, and you're not in a serious relationship, there's some learning you have. Oh yeah, okay, you're laughing, right? I know why you're laughing. And the minute you're in a serious relationship, here you're in the next wall, and now you have to do more work.
Yeah.
You know, if a parent dies or a child gets sick, new wall. If you get sick, new wall. I mean, you experienced that with having cancer. Your cancer was a new wall for you, but you had to do a certain amount of work there. And so we get given these challenges, and they are growth opportunities, and we don't have to like them. But they are going to be the difference between, this is how much healing I've done. These are my tools. But if you're an adult child and you're freshly thrown into the world with no tools, everything is going to be harder, and you're going to become more and more and more depleted. And more depleted until there's nothing left of you. So I'm so tools.
And then we can get really sick, actually. The body can only take so much of that,
Yeah. Listen, Antoinette, we can't talk any longer. I don't know if you understand, but we've nearly been talking for an hour. We've got a load of questions there. So I think, shall we talk about tools next time?
Yeah, next time. Maybe do the questions, Louise.
Yeah, do the questions and see what people are asking, and then we'll see where we go from there. Okay, so we can take 8 people in here. So you guys who wanted to join, I think you've got the link. So anybody who wanted to join, this is your time. Go and click on the link. You'll appear here at the bottom of the screen, and I will see you appearing, and then I will let you in, and then you can ask your questions live. Right, that's wonderful. Now, in the meantime, I'm going to go through all our comments here. So excited to see all you guys here. So let me see. Okay. I've got to go all the time all the way to the top. Right. Hi, Norma. Hi, Jane. Hi, Shannon. Hi, Michaela. Okay. And I know now Sean is now Robin. Hi, Robin.
Hello, Robin.
Hi, Jill.
And everybody else. Yeah.
Okay. Alex, you can go and watch from the beginning. I know you're going to love this. Okay. Hi, Paul. Hi, Peter. Okay, this is a good one. Okay, so I'm going to show this one. Okay, so okay. My achievements and ideas were always dismissed by my father. Never good enough. That's what we were talking about. Okay.
And Peter, by the way, has been a highly successful, highly achieving human being.
Yeah.
As an adult, yeah.
Okay, all right. Robin, this is so important. Thank you for sharing. Photos of my childhood made me weep. That sweet, darling child sexually abused by a family member, pretending everything was beautiful. It was, but right. So yeah, but thank you for that. There's so many people who don't talk about this easily, and it's abuse is one of the biggest things. It is one of the things that's going to cause the biggest overreactions in us. Okay. Hi, Norma. Let's see what else we have here. Hi, Dina Marie. I haven't talked to you for ages. You're going to delete Sean. Okay. Right. Okay. Red flag for pain. What did you mean with that? Okay, did you see? I need to show you this one, Antoinette. You have to see this one.
Don't you dare tell me I overreact. Oh. Hello, Robin.
I think this is so funny because this used to be me. Overreact? No, I'm so adult. I'm so together. It's just a bundle of overreactions. Okay, now I'm letting it all hang out, and it's fine. Okay, so
thank you for being so honest. It's so lovely to have other people sharing their vulnerable.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It is when we give up on our story, it starts to lose its hold on us. It becomes just our story, and it then becomes something that gives other people the courage to stand up and notice and say, I'm still here, and I didn't dissolve because of this. So let me take this off. Who did I click on now? Did I click on you? I'm going to hide.
Delete.
Let's see. Okay. All right, Linda, you're looking for the link. Go look in the email that you got this afternoon. There's a link in there. And Antoinette, how did you share the links?
On the Facebook invite.
Okay, all right.
On the Facebook page, I did an invite And the link was in the invite.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions here? Because we are very happy to talk about questions now. Next week we'll talk about all the tools, right, Antoinette? So we'll talk about how do we get out of this? What's the best?
And how do we recognize it? Although maybe from tonight it's pretty clear, hey, to what you can
I
recognize
think
in it.
that we have discussed a lot of stuff here tonight that will make it very clear to people that yes, this is them. If you
So
still
how
not,
do we heal ourselves now?
yeah, so that's what the next thing we want to do is like awareness is the first thing. The minute you have awareness, you can change anything. The biggest problem with adult child syndrome is not having awareness. That's the biggest problem, because who on earth walks around and say, I have adult child syndrome and I've got 5 other siblings, and nobody does that. It's not obvious because we are so intent on looking okay. So once we stop looking okay, and we start healing ourselves, that's when we recognize other people, not before. But then we're already knee deep in trouble, right? The role of the healers to witness this witness, right? Yeah. I like it. I like it when somebody's done the work, because then you become fearless in being able to reflect something back to somebody without, and knowing you will never ever sound judgmental. So I think a healer who's done the healing themselves has layers of power to them. That is just the most awesome thing. Yeah. I'm going to do a certification course next year, and every single person is going to go through 6 months of healing, because you cannot help others if you haven't done the healing. With adult child, I'm not willing to let anybody help anybody from a book. You become healed yourself, and your place of power just it becomes so big because you
And the
notice.
interesting balance with your coaching, Louise, if I may reply to Robin's comment, I mean, yes, I think it's amazing when people can witness our pain and let us let it out. But there's also a place for what, because you do that, but you also then shine a light on the situation, which gives perspective and insight. And then you give tools. So you allow the coming out without any judgment, but then you also shine the light on the situation to show the person, let's say me's role in it, and you never do that with judgment, and then you give tools. So I think it needs, for me, all of those things were very useful, rather than someone who just held the space for me.
Look, when
I
we
don't know if
talk,
that makes sense.
the previous time when we talked about being able to go and sit in a room, a room where there is with a psychologist or some sort of helper, and where what happens in most time is that you sit and you talk, and you sit and you talk, and you sit and you talk, and you feel heard, so you feel better. And if the approach is that you are just here so that somebody can witness your pain, you're going to walk out that door and you're going to take your pain home with you. You feel better for that hour. You've paid to feel better for that hour, but you're going to walk home with your pain, and you're going to have to come back next week again with the same pain and the same non-coping skills.
And
And
that's because we have blind spots. And you hit on one in last week's live, ended up being a coaching session. And I was just being myself. And you shone a light on a blind spot I had. I didn't even know I was doing what I was doing, the being so hard on myself to heal myself. And so when somebody just sits there and listens to you, it is cathartic. But there aren't those aha moments which adult children need, I think, because we cannot see some of the things ourselves for ourselves. We have so many blind spots.
When somebody says to you, you are in denial, it sounds like you need to go and wash yourself because you're guilty of something terrible. Nobody is guilty of denial. Denial simply means you don't have the skills to see what it is that's going on in your life. Anybody who's seen this cannot be in denial about the adult child anymore. Now you have a choice. Do you want to do something about it or not? It's now your choice. Are you wanting to find help? Are you going to keep with your old ways of, I need to fix myself, I can't help, ask for help, which is what we all do? Or are you going to say, let me get help, let me find out more about this, let me join other people who have got the same.
Because especially those of us that have played it out through being successful, if you want to call it that. I mean, what is success? I mean, I think I'm more successful now than ever, and I don't do anything. But we cannot sometimes see where our we can't even see that we've got coping mechanisms and patterns and suppressions and addictions because we're functioning well in the world, in inverted commas, by the world standards, you know what I mean? World norms.
I want to bring out something that sorry, Anthony, you can finish.
No, I've finished. Yeah, I think I've said.
Okay. All right. So okay. So Robin, okay. So
Oh, that's a very good statement.
Yeah. I can only do the work when I'm safe. So yes, you have to become willing to look at stuff differently. So you have to find somebody you trust first. Now, safety, when I ask for people's wants and needs in the beginning, 90% of people say, I need to feel safe. When you do this work, that desire goes away. You find safety inside yourself. It's one of the biggest changes. And it's that's why I say the work I'm doing is self-empowerment. So that you can get to a place where you find that safety inside yourself. But yes, in the beginning, you have to resonate with somebody. You have to be able to trust them. You have to suspend judgment of new ideas long enough to try something different. It's going to take you out of your safety zone. It is going to be uncomfortable until you get it, how wonderful it is and how freeing it is, and how this one thing you've missed all these years, you didn't even know it existed, how it really is there all the time. Yeah, you're right. Anthony does a lot. Look at this one. Yeah. Okay, so one of the most important things, and I don't know, Jill, if you're still there, but I know that Jill's going to resonate with this, and I know this is something that she's also addressed in her book. So if you don't become teachable, so whatever it takes for you to become teachable, that's what it takes. For you, so for you, two examples. One was cancer, the other one was in a relationship, right? Being in a relationship. I think you sort of alluded to that. We all have different things. I had to become teachable all over again this week because I was resisting this fact that my husband fell and broke his femur. I didn't want to know it. I wanted my life to be the way it was 5 minutes before he fell. It was wonderful. I was lying in bed with my slip disc and I was really enjoying being served. So it was quite wonderful. I really resisted the idea. But the circumstances was so that I had to become teachable all over again. Whether it's a big thing or a small thing, you have to become teachable. And in order to become teachable, you have to be open to an idea that you haven't tried before. And there's a very good reason to do that, because if what you are doing currently is working, then, maybe you're here because you like us. Well, me and Antoinette, we're likable people. So maybe you're here. Thank you for that. If you're here because what you're doing is not working, you have to become teachable. Otherwise, you can't change a single thing. What's it going to take for some people to become teachable?
Mm-hmm.
You have to be willing to
Not
do it. It's different for everybody. There is no one set of rules at all. Okay, where's Paul? Okay. We have no reference points whatsoever. Yes, no reference points.
I
No.
agree 100%. You cannot do this on your own until you've got the tools.
Yeah.
And the
One of the
awareness.
one of the reasons I volunteered at a Kezo psychiatric clinics initially because I just wanted one more person out there to have the same tools that I was having all of a sudden. So, and there I learned the power of groups. Not being a herd person myself. I've never done groups before. It was like 2 people, more than that, I wouldn't open my mouth and speak. So I got the guts and the nerve, and I showed up, and I volunteered, and I facilitated a group. And the amounts of healing that happens between the group members, it is so astonishing. It's just to convince people to become part of a group. Because once what happens, look, everybody's sitting here. I'm sure there's some people here who goes like, wow, look at them. They can share that. They can say it out loud. Look, nobody's hand's fallen off. Yours, Antoinette? Anybody hands fallen off? No.
It's all free will.
We can share these things. We can share our vulnerabilities. We can tell people we've been in denial and controlling and had all kinds of bad fights and terrible relationships, and we've healed our lives. And just listening to one other person's story might just be the story you need. And sometimes it's not my story you need. Sometimes you need a story from somebody else in the group. Their story is going to resonate.
We all have different stories.
Yeah, that's the power of groups.
And I'm doing this because I know the difference, like you said, Louise, to have these moments of just peace and not overreacting, and gosh, it's worth every single bit of, I don't know, work you have to do or whatever. It's really worth it. Yeah.
And if you do have somebody who's a skilled facilitator, they are going to help you through it. I don't recommend doing it on your own. At the very least, find a support group, which are in South Africa, few and far between. There are some on Facebook. I'm just like, I can't stand them. They are a moan fest with no real empowering tools there. Live groups, I think, is if you can find one, is the best.
So we need to start a group.
I've got groups all the time. I've got groups. So anybody who wants to join it must just message me, and there are groups. We've got groups. I've got some group
Peter,
members.
I'll send you the link to Louise's group.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so there's Linda. Yeah, Linda, the self-worth challenge with us, and it was absolutely astounding. It's the one I'm going to do next. It's a 4-day event. So I'll put out a date for it soon. And the self-worth is like, well, you've got to start with self-worth. All adult children start with self-worth, because it's the one place which we all have. We've got a big deficiency, and it's hard. It was a small group. I think like 8 people when it started, and 6 when we finished. And it's hard to even be a part of 8 group. But the beautiful bonds that were formed, and the people have got soul connections now. And people supported each other. As in every single group, online, live groups, doesn't matter what. I see it over and over and over again. It's the thing that we resist when we do adult child work, and it's the thing that's our biggest healing. we become each other's family. We become each other's go-to people. It's beautiful and astonishing, and it's healing. And yeah, there's always somebody who's there for you in the group. What did Paul say? Let me check what Paul's saying.
Yeah, good point, Paul.
For life or until the end of your data. I hope your data never runs out, Paul, because you become a very big support to a lot of people. So, okay, so I think we are time-wise getting to the end of it. I don't know what's happened to our links here, why people haven't joined, but maybe all your questions have been answered. And we are definitely next week. It's going to be even more empowering because next week we're going to move towards working on some real tools and some problem areas and seeing, right, Antoinette, is that good for you? I think we had a different plan and now it's this.
That's cool. We're going with the flow. I think that the link for people to get in and be live it hasn't worked, but we must just look at that maybe before next week. I don't know. What link? I only sent them the link to the Facebook.
Yeah. If you manage to get in, then everybody else should be, but you see? Yeah.
No, I didn't send the live stream link to anyone. I think you did on your group, but like to Peter, I didn't send the live stream link. Sorry.
Okay, all right, that's fine then. It's all good. Right, so I'm going to put the link to the PDF right in the comments here so that you can all go and get the PDF. So there's a sign-up place which is on my website, but I'm not going to let you go there. I'm actually going to let you go to the free section of my new membership site, which is not live yet. People, don't judge me, okay? It's not live. It's not finished, but the free section is finished. Don't go sign up for courses. They all say they are live, and there's nothing that you can sign up for. Okay, there's nowhere you can put money down or get anything except the free stuff. So I'm going to put the link in there for you, and which will get you signed up to my website, and you'll get 7 emails or something like that from me, which is just resources and telling you about a little bit more. And you can unsubscribe at any time, no problems, but you will have that free link. And then you will also know whenever I'm doing something which is going to be adult child related, which is going to be soon, because I am going to do an online group which is going to last for 6 months, which is going to be so healing, and it's going to be a small group of people, and I'm just going to put people through this, the whole system awareness and neutralizing. And yeah, I'm so excited about it. I can't wait. It's just limit of time, so it will happen soon. Okay, Antoinette, what do you want to add before we sign off?
I just want to add that working with someone like you, and I'm not promoting you for any self reason, as I've said before, I've got no stake in it, but yeah, the difference that it made in my life, and I think other people who have used you will say that, yeah, the facilitation and the insight and the tools is just, I'm not sure people can get there any other way. And that's why it's amazing that you're putting stuff out online and you're training more people, because there's just not enough of this around. There isn't even awareness of it, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think people can get better, Antoinette, with awareness, but it's a problem of seeing your own blind spots. And there, if you have somebody who sees your blind spots, that person helps you get through it faster. So the program that I'm going to do is going to have at least 3 one-on-one sessions. I haven't worked at the program 100%, so I'm at least going to make sure there are some one-on-one sessions, because even in the group sessions, I say to people, come for 3 sessions, and then in group, I'll be able to help you better. But there are questionnaires and stuff like that too, which helps everybody get through it. And every week there's exercise, just like when we did the self-worth online. There's exercises, there's a commitment, there's group support, there's accountability, and you actually get through it and you get to the other side, and you are a more healed, more lifted version of yourself. Yeah, so you can. The minute you get awareness, you can start working on yourself. But Remember, adult children believe. They can't ask help. They can't look vulnerable. They have to do everything themselves. And one of the first things that you have to do is, if you want to heal, is drop all that rubbish. It's rubbish. You can ask for help. You won't die. You can look imperfect. I'm sitting here being imperfect the whole night. I swore a few times, which is really okay. And you don't have to do it yourself. I wouldn't be here today if I didn't allow people to help me. So please go ahead, make comment if you, and go and read that article and go and see what other free resources I have for you. And I'd love to hear back from you. And thanks, Antoinette, for joining me. I loved talking to you. It's always interesting.
Louise. Thank you.
I'm going to let you talk more next time so you can have more aha moments, okay?
I don't know. Okay, we'll see you next week, everybody.
Yeah, people are seeing live training. Okay, bye-bye, everybody. Have a good evening.
Bye, cheers. See you next week. Bye, Louise. Thank you.
Bye.